there's no real equivalent on the left. You know, I don't know what the.
I tried.
Well, it's a great thing to do because part of like this show is like moving all that brilliance on the blogosphere. Get it on public access TV. Get it on. You know, it's a sort of it's a potential anchor that can spread. So that's a great thing. How was you were living in Virginia,
right?
A pretty red part of Virginia.
Oh, man.
During, was it peak Bush, like 05, right after his re-election? Huh?
Oh yeah, it was a peak right-winger era, and then of course the Democrats took over the Congress in 06, and the angst kicked up pretty hard, and the anger kicked around, and that was a very interesting experience. I found things in ways of worldview, let me put it that way. I found a worldview down there that I had only read about or imagined, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I wasn't intimately familiar with, and some of the things that I always thought of as caricatures turned out to be entirely true.
To fill them.
Exactly.
I always wonder, in my mind, I always think that Vermont and parts of Virginia and the Carolinas and Georgia actually have something in common with the Appalachian thing. So I'm wondering if you did see, and somehow we kind of, if you walk around here, it kind of looks like a red state, pickups and gun racks and stuff. But for some reason, I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I wonder if you have any insight into how the area you live was similar or different from Vermont is.
Well, one of the biggest differences between the area I lived in Virginia and the area that I live in Vermont is that you go down there right now and you're not going to find 4 and 5 feet of snow on the ground. Okay, I live in Caledonia County. I live in St. Johnsbury,
right.
Which is probably, if there could be said to be a red part of Vermont, that's probably the most conservative part that there is.
Yeah.
Okay, although as of the last elections, that's starting to shift a little bit too.
Sure.
But you definitely have that small town sweetness. You have that 9 out of 10 people are extremely friendly. The architecture is beautiful. There's conservatism here, but it's not vicious like it tends to be in Virginia.
Is the missing factor in Vermont race? Do you think that's what's going on?
I don't think people up here factor that into their thinking.
Yeah.
And people in Virginia probably don't factor that into their thinking quite as much as you might imagine, because the first thing people think of when they think of race in America, they think of black versus white.
Right.
Okay, especially now with the president that we've just elected.
Right.
But if you want me to point to examples of racial fear and loathing in Virginia, it wasn't so much about black people. It was about people of Middle Eastern descent.
Oh.
Obviously, given the events of the previous years.
Yeah, I thought maybe we were getting ready to say immigration.
Well, that's a convenient horse that they beat, but in Harrisonburg, which is very close to where I lived, in fact, I initially lived in Harrisonburg, there is a substantial Latino population, and I don't know, there were some immigration raids there, but there's a whole bunch of people that obviously there that speak nothing but Spanish, but are perfectly legal, and they work in places like Cargill and some of the other poultry processing plants and stuff like that. So if you would ask me if those people are hated, I would say no. They might be a little bit clicked, okay, but I don't think they're hated or reviled.
Great.
Not that I saw. When we first moved to Virginia, we moved into a very insular apartment complex. I actually tell people that if the only thing keeping this from being a gated community is it doesn't have a gate. And the landlord and landlady, who to this day are still very close friends of ours, we communicate with them all the time. My wife talks to our ex-landlady by telephone almost on a daily basis. They send presents for the kids. We're deeply religious. We're Presbyterians. They're very conservative, and they looked at that apartment complex as being kind of their ministry. After we had been there, in fact, the landlord was a lay pastor in his church. After we had been there for a while, we sat down with them, or they sat us down. We had a discussion, and we realized that us living there didn't work. They helped us find another place. They helped us move. And then it was maybe a week after we moved to another town, Weir's Cave, down the road. In fact, it was the next county down. I was off on station business. The wife got extremely sick, and the former landlord at that point, came straight to the hospital, no questions asked. These are great people.
Your small town sweetness. I like that turn of phrase. How's being back in Vermont? Have you noticed much in the way of change in the last 3 years, or the part of the state you settled in? Or?
I can tell you that it's different from where I used to live in Vermont. I always knew I'd come back to Vermont. When I left Vermont, I had a whole bunch of time on my driver's license, and I never got a Virginia license. I never got a Massachusetts license. I always told everybody, I'm going to renew that in Vermont. Well, I made it. But I never pictured myself ending up in the Northeast Kingdom. That doesn't mean I made any effort to avoid it or had any preconceived notions about it. It just never occurred to me that that would happen. I always figured if I'd end up back in Bennington or in Montpelier or possibly in Chittenden County on the edges of Burlington. Okay, well, I ended up in St. Johnsbury.
Which is its own hub, my small town. I will put in a good word.
Oh, yes. I ended up in St. Johnsbury. In fact, initially we lived up above Danville, way out in the middle of nowhere. And I have to say I'm real happy with where I landed. It's beautiful. It's clean. Again, you have the small town sweetness.
Yeah.
And
actually, St. James kind of does have. You have a couple food co-ops. I'm jealous of you guys.
Yeah, we have at least one that I know of.
Yeah.
I shop there all the time.
Yeah.
And Montpelier, which is probably my favorite city in Vermont, to be honest with you, is, as you saw today, it's a 30-minute drive.
Right.
40-minute, whatever.
Right.
Did you hear that, state police? 40 minutes. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, we can edit that out. Don't worry.
Oh, just leave it.
Let's see. I'm wondering that sort of I guess the cult of Kestrel 9000. Did it initiate with you posting? You post falcon pictures, photos of. There's a lot of blogs. As you say, there's more photo blogging. There's diaries where people aren't getting into the politics and the heavy and the wonkery, as you put it. But they post pooty pics, which are cats.
Yeah.
And I don't know if did you start this
well, I
trend
I had that screen name before I actually discovered blogs. I got involved in internet political discussion actually with Yahoo groups.
Okay.
And that was my original email address.
Okay.
And I just came up with it. There's parts of it that are kind of we'll leave the mystery there.
Right.
But it gives me a unique identifier on the internet. So that made the jump to blogging very easily. In fact, I discovered Daily Kos through a link in a Yahoo group. And after I was already in Virginia, in fact, I got involved with starting Green Mountain Daily after I was already in Virginia. So that was how that worked out, and the rest of it just kind of built itself. I adopted that as a symbol, and it sort of took off. It works. Again, it gives you a unique identity on the internet.
Right. I guess a kestrel is a type of falcon, right?
Smallest falcon in North America.
Oh, it's the smallest falcon in North America.
Right.
And then you'll go to, say, maybe a photo blogger or Cheers and Jeers.
Cheers and Jeers is the morning show on Daily Kos. That's basically the Daily Kos equivalent of a radio morning show.
Okay.
Big old community event, and so I put up a picture of a kestrel every morning, and I call it the Daily Kes, obviously.
Right.
And that can start any number of reactions. I got this one lady that posts a picture of a finch on a stick every day. And it's a picture of a plastic finch. One day it'll be a celery stick. One day it'll be a cinnamon stick. You never know what she's going to do.
Nice.
And it just kind of built itself.
I like that analogy with the Cheers and Jeers being a morning show, and that's Bill in Portland, Maine.
That's Bill in Portland, Maine. What a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's now actually paid by
the bloggers, by the community. Okay, he's not paid by Kos Media. He's paid by donations from the Cheers and Jeers sub community of Daily Kos. So it's listener-supported blogging or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is like a morning show, especially if you've ever read the content that he puts up. It's not wonky and fact-based. It's entertaining and it has a definite format to it. So
he was just riffing on Robert's flubbing the oath, like just hilarious, like as only he can. It was really good. But again, the parallel with radio is fascinating. That he is sort of like.
Well, he's done radio.
But the way he's funded is that listener supported. The people.
Exactly right.
The people are the boss model, which is
right. I say it's great work if you can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's unique. I mean,
absolutely.
There's one of him on the planet.
He has a very special gift, and he understands communication to an amazing extent.
I commented on your shirt as you were walking in, because that was really the first time I became aware of the largeness of Kestrel 9000 was seeing a photo of you wearing a Daily Kos t-shirt at a gun show or an NRA rally, or what was that?
It wouldn't be at an NRA rally. I wish no part of the NRA. But no, it was a gun show. It was a gun show in Harrisonburg, Virginia, at the Rockingham County Fairgrounds. And the picture you're talking about, actually there are two of them. I'm holding a Beretta CX4 Storm, which is a 9mm carbine. No, I didn't buy it. It was a little pricey for me, but I thought it was a cool picture.